Hello and welcome back to the course. Super excited to have you here. We're going to have a fun tutorial, and today I will show you how to install MetaTrader 4 on your computer. Now, I've got the MetaTrader 4 setup file here. Let's double click it, and we get a window like this where we can read through the license agreement. So once you've read through that and once you're happy with it, if you're happy with it, click this yes button. Now, if you would like to change the default path where MetaTrader 4 is going to be installed, then you need to click settings, and here you can specify the path where to install MetaTrader 4. I'm not going to change anything here. I'm just going to click next, and as you can see, more files are being downloaded and the terminal is being installed. Actually, there we go. It was that quick. It's finished. So now this window will close. And as you can see, a new shortcut has appeared. So now if I double click it, what we'll see is MetaTrader 4 pop up. Awesome. This is exactly what we want to see. Now, MetaTrader 4 is prompting us to open an account. And there we go. So you heard that sound. That sound you're going to hear often. And as you
incoming mail.
There's another sound. That's your MetaTrader 4 mailbox. If you hear those two, hooray, everything is fine, everything's working. So you can also check by looking down in the bottom right-hand corner here. You can see those green bars and the connection status over here. So everything's working. So congratulations, your demo account is opened. So here you can see that this is my demo account. It's got my name here. And I have $50,000 here. Now, what you will notice is that the currency of the balance is Australian dollars. Now, for the most part of the course, it won't make a difference, except for if we're performing some calculations to calculate risks and exposures and things like that. So in those cases, just make sure to follow the formulas and then make that additional conversion into Australian dollars. We're going to learn how to navigate the trading platform. So I've got the MetaTrader 4 platform open in front of me. Let's have a look what it's got. So right away in front you've got a chart, and most likely your chart is black in color. And that happens when you open up a new chart. By default they're black, so we'll have a look at how to change the color in a minute as well. Up at the top we've got a panel, which most programs have. Then we've got some toolbars over here. On the left, we've got a Marketwatch window, then we've got a Navigator window below that, and then at the bottom, we've got a whole panel of windows, which are trade, exposure, account history, news, and so on. And of course, in the middle, we have the main chart. So let's start with the chart. How do we open a new chart? Right now, we've got the Euro-Dollar 1 hourly time frame chart open. Let's see how we open a new one. Well, in the Marketwatch, we right-click on the currency pair that we want to see, and we click Chart Window, and the window pops up. As you can see, the window is right away black, and that's the default color for MetaTrader 4. You can change that very easily. Right-click on the chart, go to Properties, and Color Scheme, and then change it to whichever one you want. You can specify your own scheme on the right here. Then we click OK, and we've got the chart. So next, also, we can go to Properties, Common, and if we uncheck the Show Grid, we won't see the grid in the background because it can be distracting at times. So that's good. By default, as you can see, the chart that was open is the British Pound Dollar 1 hourly time frame chart. So how do we change the time frame of the chart? Well, this panel over here, let's get it done and dusted right away. It tells you which time frame of the chart you have opened, and you can change the time frame by simply clicking. And as you can see, as I click, the chart changes and adjusts to the right time frame. Sometimes data has to be loaded, and you'll get this warning message. All right, while that's loading, let's have a look at the other panels. So we've talked about the Marketwatch. On the bottom here, we've got a tick chart if you want, but that's when the market is open. Because it's Saturday, we can't see anything here, but generally here you can see every single tick that comes for this currency pair. So let's go back. The Navigator is an interesting one as well. You can change your accounts here once you've entered them at least once. You've got some indicators here which you can drag onto your chart. Let's, for example, drag a random, not that one, let's try this one. This one's pretty. This indicator, as you can see right away, we've got an indicator on the chart, and this indicator probably will look better on the black and white, on the green and black. See, it's a really pretty indicator there. You can drag. Let's do one that we're familiar with. So in the trend, we've got moving average. We drag it onto the chart, specify the width so we can see it, and there you can see our moving average is there. If you want to delete an indicator, right-click it and click Delete Indicator. Okay, so we've got the moving average. As you can see, everything is pretty simple. It's very easy to get around here. All the indicators are here. Expert Advisor, so I wouldn't advise using these because these are the default ones and they're not very good. They'll just lose your money, so probably don't even look in there. Scripts, also not at this stage. We don't need any scripts right now. Okay, so what have we got next? At the bottom, you've got your account state. For example, any open trades will be in the Trade tab. Exposure is a new tab in the recent builds of MetaTrader 4. So it tells you once you have open trades which currencies you're exposed to. Account history, it's got some just general, basically trades that you've already conducted, if you have conducted any, and so on. So the news, alerts, mailbox, market, you can explore those. They're not that important for your trading. Maybe the journal is important because it tells you exactly what's happening on your charts and what is like if there's any take profits or stop losses and so on. So that's maybe an important tab as well. All right, so let's move over to the top now. At the top, we've got the file window, file menu. I don't really use that. It basically doesn't have anything helpful except for open account. So if you want to open an account, open a new account, you can open one here. Or if you want to log into an account, you can log into account here. If you have your credentials and you have your server, just basically log into account and it will appear over there. Next, the view. This one might be useful for you if you're from a different country and your home language is not English. You just basically use any language, and they've got a big variety, big selection of languages here. Next, so in view, anything else? No, we'll talk about all of these just now. Then insert, you can insert indicators this way as well. So the most recent ones, I think, are over here. And then you can pick in the same way as we just did. You can pick the indicators from here. You can also insert other things like lines, but we'll talk about that in the panels down here. Insert lines, channels, like different elements of analysis, technical analysis. Maybe the only one that is useful from here is shape. So if you want to insert a rectangle, you can, and then if you double click it and then you go to properties, you can change the color if you want. If you want to highlight something on your chart. So I'll just delete that, it's distracting. So insert charts. Actually don't use this one because all of these options are actually available here and we'll talk about them. Tools, this is an important one. So your options, your terminal options are here, and you can set these up if you want. I actually don't think you need to adjust anything here. Maybe change your account server if you need to, but once again, you can do that in the menu we looked at previously. Okay, and history center, that's if you want to upload history or change it, so we're not going to look at that. We're not going to look at any of those. Window, to be honest, this one can help you tile your windows. Like if you have several windows open and they're messy, you just click here and you click like tile windows, and as you can see, they're right away adjusted into a nice, neat fashion. Or you can tile them like this, or you can tile them whichever way you want. And help, there's always the help topics. If you get stuck with a client terminal, there's some really good instructions on how to get around and topics that will help you find your way. All right, so now we're going to talk about navigation of MetaTrader 4 using the quick panels over here. So I'm just going to open up, expand one of the charts, and the quick panels, you can, there's 4 of them right here by default, and you can just take them and drag them wherever you want. So like I can put it here and like undock it. I can put it back in here. I can put it at the top, wherever you want. So let's just maybe take them out so we can focus. The first one is add a chart, and you can just basically quickly choose a chart you want to add. If you want to close the chart, just click this cross over here up the top, and the chart gets closed. So that's an alternative to adding charts through this list over here on the left. The second one is saving and loading profiles. Don't need to focus on this right away, but if you have like a certain number of charts opened up and you want to save that kind of view, then you can save profile as, and then you can load your profile if you want to. I don't really use profiles that much, but you might find it handy. Okay, so Marketwatch, this basically switches the Marketwatch on and off. As you can see on the left, the Marketwatch is disappearing. So if one day you by accident click this cross and Marketwatch goes away, don't worry, you can always bring back by just clicking Marketwatch. All right, so this crosshair, it opens up a data window which is not open by default. So let's click that. And what that does is, right now it's empty, but as soon as your mouse is on the chart, as you can see, the values in the data window are changing, and it's basically showing you quickly what the open, high, low, close, and volume are for the chart. And that's a very quick way to get the information instead of having to look up every single bar. And as you can see, if you just hold your mouse still, the same information will pop up in a small little window beside your mouse. So let's get rid of the data window. Next one is the Navigator. Once again, gets rid of the Navigator, puts it back. Next one is the terminal box or terminal windows at the bottom. So if you don't want them, if they're taking up too much space, just get rid of them, and then you can bring them back. So anything that you get rid of, you can bring back. That's the terminal window. This one is the strategy tester. So it brings up another window at the bottom over here. And here you can test expert advisors, and this is the part where you do your kind of preparations for algorithmic trading. We're not going to talk about that in this course. I have a separate course on this. It's called Use MetaTrader for Strategy Tester Like a Pro. It's quite a complex beast, so if you do want to get into strategy testing, then check out that other course. For now, we'll just close the strategy tester. And this button is a new order button, so if you want to open a new order, you click that button and you can open a new order. And we'll talk more about this when we're performing live trading on our real Forex account in the next section of the course. So MetaEditor brings up a separate window where you can create Forex robots, indicators, and scripts. You can program things and deploy them on your account then. Once again, we're not going to be talking about that in this course. If you are interested, check out my other courses. For example, the green one is on programming expert advisors in MetaTrader 4. So we're going to close that for now. And the last button here, auto trading, when you bring this back here, it becomes a big button. It basically says whether expert advisors are allowed to trade on your account or not. Right now it's off, and kind of protects us from accidentally launching a Forex robot on the account. Okay, so we've done that one. Now next one is this one over here. So the first 3 are pretty straightforward. It changes the type of chart. So if you zoom in using these 2, let's zoom in. And so now you can see that we've got a bar chart in front of us. Well, if we click this button, it'll become a candle chart. And if we click this button, it'll become a line chart. So I'll just zoom out a bit. So here you see a line chart, you see a candle chart, and a bar chart. These ones we've already done, they zoom in, zoom out. This one tiles windows, like as we talked about in the previous tutorial. And then, okay, this is quite an important button over here. So let's go back to this chart. This button, this green button, basically what it does is it auto scrolls your chart. So when the markets are open, like today's Saturday they're not, but generally when they're open, you get new ticks all the time. And if this is on, your chart will just keep moving. Like, for example, just keep moving like this all the time when new ticks are coming. It'll just keep like fast forwarding to the right. And if you don't want that, if you want to scroll to the left and see what's going on, then just unclick this button and you'll be able to scroll without the chart auto scrolling back to the right. And this button gives you a bit of a shift on the right, so watch when I click it, what happens. So I click it and the chart shifts to the left, basically giving me some extra space to analyze, like to see the end of the chart, because like this you can maybe not really see it, it's hiding it behind there. And once you've clicked this, there's a little triangle up at the top, and you can move it around and your chart shift will change, and giving you more or less space depending on what you need. Indicators basically brings up an indicator you can add to the chart. So that's the third way of adding an indicator to your chart. This one changes your time frame, but you don't really need that because you have these buttons up at the top here, which we've already talked about. This last one also working with templates. Okay, so that's done. We've already done this one with the time frames. The last one we have to do is line studies. So here you can, the crosshair, you click it and it will add a crosshair to the chart, and then if you click and hold, you kind of can measure distances on your chart if you like. Same thing if you just middle click your mouse, click the the scrolling wheel on your button, you'll get a crosshair. So this vertical line, it adds a vertical line to your chart. Horizontal line adds a horizontal one. If you want to delete it, you double click, or you right click and you click delete. So if you want to change something about it, then you double click it and then you go horizontal line properties. You can change the color if you want. You can change the width and things like that. This is a diagonal line, so a trend line. What's important about it is by default, so I'm going to just delete this one. By default, your trend lines will be raised, so a lot of traders have trouble with this. By default, they're like going forever, so you can't see the end of it. So if you want to change that, you double click your trend line and you go into parameters and you uncheck ray, then it becomes like just a small trend line, which is much better, much easier to operate with. And then if you want to like do a channel, you click it and then you click control and you copy it, and then you have the same angle and you have a channel. And the rest of them, you don't really need to worry about them. Oh, actually, this one's quite important. Fibonacci retracement, we'll be talking about it. So you pull it from somewhere to somewhere, and you'll have Fibonacci retracements automatically pop up. But we'll talk about it in more detail when we get to the live trading section of our course. Also, you can add labels. So this is a text, and this is a label. So a label moves with the chart or stays on your screen. The text moves with the chart. So that's if you want to make some certain highlights and things like that. Then you can add arrows and thumbs up and thumbs down. So this is all graphical analysis and markings. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. MetaTrader 4 is generally very easy to navigate, and if you spend 1 or 2 hours just playing around with it, and after you've watched this and the previous tutorials, you'll very quickly get the hang of it.